You're about to learn how to heal your gut and improve your life, simplify it, make it more easy for feeding yourself and your family with one recipe that Luka Symons is going to show us and how you can modify it, change it, and adapt it to who you are. I'm here with Luka Symons, the wonderful, fun, fantastic face behind Good Food and You. And in case you missed the video previous, she gave us the lowdown between a meat stock and a bone broth. Went into detail of what those differences are and why you might choose one over another. This video is all about showing you how to create the meat stock. And again, you're going to get a recipe. It's all down below. But throughout the video, we're going to give you insights into ingredients you can switch out, modifications you can make, how you can change it flavor-wise. You can customize it to your palate. So looking forward to this. This is going to be fun, tasty, and easy, right?
Oh, so easy. This is dinner tonight.
All right.
Like, ridiculous easy.
Okay, excellent. So where do we start?
All right.
And put me to work, too, right?
I'm putting you to work, you betcha. So what I want to outline, the must-have parts of a meat stock, of course, is something that has bones and meat on it.
Right.
So for simplicity's sake today, we're going to be doing a chicken meat stock. Chicken meat stock, to me, is the brilliant first start for somebody who's just delving into making their own stock. There's a couple of tricks to know. You don't want to have too much water. You want to make sure you have some rich connective tissue that's involved in the mix. And one of the extra tips that I gleaned from the Weston A. Price Foundation is when you first go to set up your meat, to make your meat stock, if you add a mere 2 tablespoons, maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons of something acidic to your meat stock. So now we're talking, this is apple cider vinegar, but you could use lemon juice.
Yeah.
You could use juice from a ferment.
Right.
If you've got too much left over, a beet kvass or something like that.
Right. Or how about if you're one of those home kombucha makers and one just goes a little bit too sour?
That is the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you have whey. If you really like to make your own Greek yogurt at home and you've got some leftover whey, that's a nice acidic base that would actually do the work of similar to apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
So the reason why we're adding that, the apple cider vinegar and the acid that you're putting in helps to draw out more minerals into your final product. So it increases the nutrient density. Like, well, I want more minerals.
Yeah.
I mean, part of what's happening with how our food is produced these days is that the mineral count is actually a lot lower than it used to be.
Totally. And in the case of, let's say, in the chicken, right, was it eating its natural diet?
Right.
And we'll just preface that too, right? So whatever meat you're using, make sure you can get that highest quality that you have access to and that you can invest in. And that's typically, organic, free range, that type of thing.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. And there's lots of producers. Do a little bit of research in and around your centers and you should be able to track them down pretty easily.
Which even, connecting with your local Weston A. Price chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, what's great resources. You don't even need to do the research. You put that on a little group and your feed will be full with suggestions.
Yeah. So the website for that, by the way, if you want to find them, is westonaprice.org. If you're curious to know.
Super simple.
So today we're making a chicken meat stock. So I took this chicken, we're calling him Jerry. Thank you, Jerry, for helping us out today. Jerry is a nice 6 or 7 pound chicken from just north of Calgary.
Okay.
And I defrosted him in just a bath of cold water since this morning. So when you're making chicken meat stock, the first thing to do, of course, is to get a good quality animal.
Yeah.
And then to add your apple cider vinegar. And then you want to add enough water to just cover the total of the meat, really.
Okay.
And so we're going to step to that now.
All right, I got that. And here's another thing too. Choose the best, highest quality water that you have access to. That may be spring water that you enjoy. Maybe it's filtered water. Whatever it is, you're adding, as Luka said, just enough to cover. Okay.
Yeah. So the only extra thing that I would say is actually of necessity in order to, if you're making this in order to help look after your gut and to mend some of the stuff that's happening there at that level, the more connective tissue that you can add into the end product, the better.
Right.
So the easiest and least expensive way to do it is to add chicken feet.
Ooh.
They're so scary looking. You can eat them afterwards if you'd like. Many cultures do.
Yeah.
But by no means.
It's a delicacy, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And super rich in collagen. like ridiculously rich in collagen. There's so much connective tissue in the feet.
Yeah.
And so as we're going to be boiling this or having it on a low simmer, we're going to be pulling out those nutrients into the meat stock. Awesome. So chicken feet are great. I love chicken feet because they're the least expensive option. A lot of farmers choose not to have chicken feet as part of their sales. So at that point, if you can have chicken backs, chicken necks, any kind of, and you know, I mean, I get chickens from a fellow just north of the city, and I always bug him. What have you got? What can you not get rid of? And he says, oh, I've got so many backs and necks. I said, I'll take a bag of 5 kilos. Right. So every time I go to pick up my chickens from Jerry, then I get like a schwack of chicken backs and chicken necks for like $5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Or just head to your favorite local shop or your health food store. For sure they should have it. And if they don't, be sure to ask. Shops love to cater to what people are looking for. So you can start a trendsetter, you. So we're going to be adding these chicken feet into the mix. And they're going to go in with that chicken. Really part of the submerged. That's it.
And that was one bag, which is probably, what, you got about 10 feet in there?
Yeah, I'd say about 10 feet.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to, you can put 4 feet if you want, like whatever you're able to afford, what's affordable for you, and what feels doable for you. So you could do strictly chicken feet, or you could do strictly chicken backs and chicken necks, and you would be getting a meat stock at that stage. But I love to do a full whole chicken, not cut up, as is. There she goes, right in the whole mix, because it's so easy.
Yeah.
So there you go. So then this would sit for a good hour. And in this hour, the apple cider vinegar or whatever acidic compound you put in there is going to pull out those minerals and really increase the nutrient density in that hour.
Okay, right on. So cover with water, add a little cider vinegar, sit for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll do some chopping in the meantime.
All right, so 1 hour later, this has been sitting, hanging out for an hour. We've chatted, and now we're going to be adding extra things. So, you know, the chicken and the feet and the apple cider vinegar is the basic. Anything else you add is a bonus.
Right,
so
totally.
all of these things, 3 of these things, you get to decide. Now, adding some vegetables to the mix adds flavor and adds extra minerals, which is great.
For sure. And then I'm assuming, right, you can either do like you're doing, you got whole vegetables, we chopped up carrots, celery, onions, or what I've got is a little veggie scrap bag.
Yeah, in the freezer.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk about that while I'm doing this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
That's
anytime
great.
you're prepping dinner, you got those, the ends of the onion or the carrot. Don't even worry if it's like that kind of ugly little knobby bit. That's perfect. That's actually what you want. Save to the side, put it in the bag. Have a little bag in the freezer that you just keep adding to. Onion peels, garlic skins, that kind of thing.
The only thing I wouldn't add is stuff in the broccoli family.
Oh,
or kale. Kale
yeah,
stems,
exactly.
broccoli.
Anything
the taste is off-putting.
Yeah, like the brassicas, really kind of like that sulfurous. Yeah, no, I know. When you start cooking that, like the taste, even just the smell is not the best. So good call.
Yeah, mushroom stems are great.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're having chicken drumsticks one night, and then you can just toss the bones in there so that the next time you're making a meat stock, you'll get the added bonus of the stuff that's coming off of that connective tissue coming into your meat stock. Yeah. So adding a couple of vegetables is great. And like you said, cutting them in small pieces like this allows you to use them afterwards in a stew right away. Right. You don't have to toss it away. The cooking time is so short that there's still flavor left and there's still nutrients left in the carrot. This way, then you can use it again. If you're not planning to use it, put it in bigger chunks because you're in a rush. Works for me. I'm not going to tell you. So the other stuff, one of the brilliant things you can add is a little bit of fresh herbs. Mm-hmm. So today we've got some lovage, because this is what I have in my garden, and it's a brilliant herb. It's halfway between celery and parsley. It's just brilliant. Awesome. So we throw in a couple of leaves. You could throw in thyme. You could throw in some parsley or rosemary. It's so fresh.
That's delicious.
Yeah. And so that goes in there. And let's move on to some more flavors, but now adding the light cellar touch. Right. A little medicinal goodness to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got, I took out here just a little bowl of a few offerings. So we have some seaweed. Yeah,
this is kelp. This is harvested from the West Coast. I mean, it's amazing. It just looks so good, so fresh. It is in a dried form, and kelp is really, really high in minerals. Natural minerals that comes from the ocean. Kelp is one of the seaweeds that's able to concentrate the highest amount of minerals. So just adding it like you are, just a couple of flakes in there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, love it.
It's an easy place to use up that seaweed that you've purchased.
No, totally. I mean, we all, theoretically want to get more seaweeds into our body because they're such a great mineral source, and but not everyone loves the flavor. Totally get it. So a little bit in your stocks and your broth is a great way to go.
And it's wild harvested, and I love to bring in wild harvested foods into whatever I'm making.
Yeah.
When I can, just to get that extra
Totally.
nutrient density.
All right. And now, absolutely. Yeah. So here we're venturing into the realm of herbs. And this is astragalus, known as the Great Protector. This is one of the top famed Chinese tonic herbs. Astragalus, it's really great for immune support, great for the lungs, and so many properties. And again, simple, right? Mm-hmm. You can make a tea with it, or you put it in your meat stock, and you're getting those benefits too.
Meat stock is really like a chicken tea,
right?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to call this chicken tea now. Oh, I don't know. That doesn't sound so appetizing. Now, the next thing that I'm adding, these are shiitake mushrooms. So shiitake are also supportive to your immune system, and there's about 70% of your immune system that lives in your gut. So if you're looking to do some support to the gut, looking after the immune system is a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, of course, the mushrooms, such great flavor. Those are not only, shiitakes are not only medicinal because of all their great properties, but they're also one of the great culinary mushrooms. We're known for their flavor, in particular that umami, that deep, like, savory flavor.
Yeah, it's a brilliant flavor. I'm also adding in, these were the last remnants of my bay leaves, but this is a traditional herb that you would have used in traditional French cooking when you were making a meat stock or a bone broth. And the beauty of adding herbs is that there's a lot of flavor in the herbs. And if you think of wherever there's flavor, there's going to be nutrient density. There happens to be a little bit more nutrients wherever there's good flavor. So I think our ancestors knew what they were doing. We're just going to follow their lead and throw that in there. And I also have a little bit of reishi. We'll add a little bit here. I've got a slice here, and I've got a pinch of some remnants here going in. And reishi is great for so many things, your immune system, amongst others. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's one of those ones, again, top revered in Chinese herbal medicine. In fact, reishi grows on every continent in the world.
No kidding.
Yeah, in one form or another, reishi's out there, and it's, again, like all mushrooms, have been used as a source of food and medicine. Yeah. And reishi's one of those top medicines.
Yeah, I love it. So other stuff that I'm adding, I always look to add some deep greens, and nettle is probably one of my favorite greens. This is just dried nettle.
Yeah.
Super rich in minerals again, and so a lot of people may not be super strong on the taste. This is where you add it. You toss a handful or so to your meat stock, and you'll be brewing some of that goodness out there into a final product.
Awesome.
And then a couple of peppercorns. Peppercorns are a traditional flavor that would have been added to meat stock as well, and impart just a really nice peppery flavor, and there's great things to reduce inflammation in pepper, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So there we go. And that's it.
Cool, right on. So we've let it sit for an hour in that apple cider vinegar. We've added all our vegetables, our herbs, our mushrooms, of which, again, you can do one or all or any variation of those. And now we're ready just to turn on the heat, correct?
Yeah, and then that's it. So we'll turn it. Do I have the right one?
Yeah.
So I would turn it to a high heat. This will take us a while, so we'll come back when it's up and bubbling so you can see what the action looks like. But you bring it up to a boil and you allow it to simmer. So here we are after we brought it up to a boil. So as you can see now, it's having a really nice little rumble. That slow calm on top with the action below.
Yeah.
You're going to have that image in your head.
Totally.
Sorry. Yeah. And so at this point, I would then set my timer from this stage, and I'd go an hour and a half. In that hour and a half cooking time, it's enough time to get into the entirety of the chicken and to cook all of the meat through, and enough time to pull out those nutrients that will best support the intestinal lining that needs a little bit of love at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've noticed you don't have a lid on.
No, that's right. Oh, good point. Yeah. So I don't put a lid on. You lose track of how quickly the heat can drive with a lid on. And so by leaving the lid off, you can keep a better eye on it. It's a little bit more gradual of increase in temperature. And once it's up and rolling, then it's nice to leave it out to evaporate a little bit of the water off, and you'll have a more concentrated end product. Not entirely tons, but you'll have a better chance of it gelling. Speaking of gelling, if at the end you let it cool and you're thinking, oh, but Luka said it would gel and mine's not gelling. Right. There could be a few different things at play. It could be that there was too much water to your meat ratio. It could also be that you went way too high the temperature. Right. So next time, try a little bit less water, or try adding just keeping an eye on the temperature to see how it is and maybe have a lesser of a simmer. Know that if it's not gelling, it's still nourishing. I wouldn't toss it. I would still eat it.
Yeah, that's good because I deal with gel envy all the time. It's like, mine didn't.
To let it super gel, like some people let it really cook down over like part of the 72 hours in order to get that really concentrated like super jello thing. But
yeah,
whatever. I also wanted to say at the end of all of this, when you're done cooking, what you would do is you'd pass it through a sieve or a strainer. You'd retain all the bits that you want to consume again. So if those carrots and the celery looks good, I'd go ahead and use those again. If you're not planning to use them right away in the stew, toss them. You've got the majority of the nutrients out anyway. At this point, it's not worth it to hang on to make another batch.
Yeah.
And then take your whole chicken in its entirety and let it cool a little bit, and then you would start to strip the chicken meat off.
Yeah.
I would dispose of the skin. It's not a really nice texture, but the meat itself is really nice. It's almost like a pulled chicken. Right. And I stash it in small containers in the freezer, and then it makes for really easy dinners. Yeah. Like ridiculous.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got dinner, you got your meat stock. You're set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like what's not to love?
Right on. Okay, now it's your turn.